What's good, everyone? Welcome to another stream, my increasingly infrequent streams, as I cover DB of Z again, and we're going to be covering strategy and a new development of our strategy. We're going to be talking about fundamentals. What does it mean to have fundamentals from a martial arts perspective, as well as from a fighting game perspective? We're going to be discussing a little bit about that, the philosophy behind fundamentals and stuff like that. Hopefully I can change your mindset, and most importantly, once you guys have this hopeful paradigm shift, you guys will be able to start cooking your opponents a lot more consistently. Or at the very least, understanding how to cook your opponents a little bit more. But thank you for joining me. How is everyone doing today? How are y'all doing? How has your last few weeks been? Also, thank you so much for the resub. Cocoa Butter? I'm dying. Oh no, don't die. Don't die. That leaves me with deep concerns. Anyway, this is going to be a lot of fun. So I hope you guys continue to enjoy this. So, question. We're going to be talking, or actually, I'm going to have a question for you guys. What do you guys think are fundamentals? Or when you hear the word fundamentals, what comes to mind? Like, what do you guys think about whenever somebody talks to you about fundies in a fighting game? I could beat up Lee's team. It's fine. Does anybody have an answer? You guys have anything that you want to say? Anything you want to... I love how it's the first thing that pops up is just, I'm dying. All right. Anyway, while you guys are answering, universal mechanics and elements of the game. Okay, that helps. That helps. If you guys want to keep answering, you can. Practices that can be applied regardless of who you're playing in the cast. Okay, so like universal mechanics and stuff like that, or universal strategies and whatnot. What was the question? The question was, what do you guys think of? What do you guys think of when you hear the term fundamentals in fighting games? I guess broad situational awareness that carries between games. Okay, that's actually cool. So I think a lot of people are unclear on whether or not it's a universal principle because, you know, a lot of people tell you if you have good fundies in Street Fighter, your fundamentals will carry over to other fighting games and vice versa. And I think all of your answers are correct. But today I'm going to challenge it a little bit. So when I think of fundamentals, or first thing that comes to mind when I think of fundamentals is that I think it's a term that gets tossed around a lot in the FGC. And I think I want to try to set a specific definition going forward. So that way, if you guys are learning with us and whatnot, or you guys are, you know, hanging out with us and stuff like that, you guys are able to really take advantage of this definition and basically get all of the students on the same page. What I'm going to lay out, I consider major cornerstones or pillars that make a complete Dragon Ball FighterZ player. So we're going to be talking about principles that are universal to the game, and in my opinion across most fighting games, but they're going to be specific to this game, or I'm going to talk to them or talk about them specifically through the lens of this game. But there are a couple of things before we do that I need you to know. Number one is that here's going to be a big kind of plot twist for a lot of you guys. You don't actually need good fundamentals to win a tournament. You really don't. A lot of people might think you do, and I think it comes and feeds into this belief that if you are really consistent in tournaments and stuff like that, then that means that you're a good player. I want to kind of shy away from this notion a little bit because I feel like this notion shifts fundamentals into something that is primarily results-based. And I think that this is a dangerous way to view and interact with as far as the game is concerned. So, what I think we're going to start talking about specifically is going to be what we consider a complete player. Just look at Hikari 3 touching with level 5 without going. Ay. Well, the thing is that regardless of that, you don't need sharp fundamentals to win tournaments because there are plenty of top players who may not necessarily even be as strong as some of you in specific areas of the game. But where they are strong is in a like where they are strong is a category that produces consistency in results. So if they have really good movement, really good neutral, or they have a very strong understanding of their team, or their team is very strong, you're going to see a lot of consistent placements and stuff like that, especially if they are used to dealing with tournament pressure and stuff like that. The reason why I bring this up is because I think it's important to go forward that this is not going to be about winning. The fundamental principles I'm going to lay out today are absolutely going to help you win tournaments or competitions, but they're going to be a natural extension of your diligent practice. They're not necessarily going to be the goal. So what that means is it's going to be the result of your training, but it's not going to be why you train. I want to encourage everyone learning fundamentals and applying strategy in order to become a more complete player. And what I consider a complete player is somebody that is actually effective and skilled in every area of the game holistically, where they have a good team, they have an excellent understanding of the three principles behind these teams, and vice versa, and things like that. They understand how to move against every opponent and how to tailor their game plans towards the opponents that they're fighting. I want to teach you to become a more well-rounded person, and if I get very lucky, maybe I can even confer some benefits to you outside of the game. And that's going to bring me down to a very specific principle. So I had a student actually make this for me, and I hope this actually kind of helps you out a little bit to visualize. I think it's only going to stream the game. So if I go for Windows capture, is it going to capture my window? It's uncomfortable. There we go. It reset. Okay, perfect. So this is a Venn diagram, and you might notice that there's two of them here, or more specifically, one. The three principles of the game, or the three fundamentals of the game, I think can be divided into three separate categories: neutral, defense, and offense. Neutral is essentially when you and your opponent are vying for a advantage. When you guys are basically not necessarily locking heads or locking swords or going at it head to head in the fighting game. I think it's more of when your opponents and you are not necessarily out to attack each other. It's when you are trying to work an advantage and work the position in order to get into a more advantageous position, but neither of you have the advantage. Defense and offense, I feel like, are pretty self-explanatory. The way I think the people in this game, or the people who play this game and other fighting games, think of these three pillars, I feel like they think of them as separate with occasional overlap. So, for example, neutral is its own thing, defense is its own thing, and offense is its own thing. And we treat them like three separate, almost RPG skill trees that we have to fill out and level up at a certain point. So you can have really, really good neutral, but have really bad defense. And, you know, how many people do you see come up and are like, wow, your pressure's really good, but man, my movement kind of sucks. Or, man, your movement's so good, I wish my pressure my movement's so good, but I wish my pressure could open people up. I'm struggling to open people up when I do win neutral. Those are pretty common situations that I hear, especially amongst students that come into WTG all the time. And I feel like you kind of view it this way, where, okay, sometimes we'll have something in this one, occasionally we'll have something in the middle, but that's few and far between. In reality, what I think of when I think of fundamentals, and the way I want to invite you guys to think of the game, I want you guys to think of the game in holistic terms. I've said that multiple times now in all of my streams that have covered strategy, but this is what I mean. The Venn diagram is a circle. Because the Venn diagram is a circle, you have neutral, you have defense, and you have offense. And these things are not separate. They are all interwoven. They are interconnected. You cannot master one without the other. And if you only invest in one, the other suffers. For example, have you guys noticed that a lot of players with incredible defense, like let's say Goichi in his prime, who was Goichi's number one training partner? Fenrich, right? And Fenrich, way back in the day, used to be considered one of the greatest neutral players in the game's history. But Goichi had godlike defense. If these two players play each other all the time, Koichi is going to lose neutral a lot more consistently. But because he loses neutral, he has more opportunity to practice his defense. Pressure also comes into this. So do your combo routes. I'm going to go ahead and go over in detail how tightly interwoven neutral defense and offense is. One of the things, if you've been in the VCs, which by the way, we have VCs almost every day in the WTG Discord. If you want to be a part of that, you can go ahead and subscribe or donate $5. You can get in. It's a lifetime membership and whatnot. So you can come in, hang out with us, get eval'd if I have time, and generally meet a community of like-minded players. But one of the things that I frequently tell people in these VCs is there can be no separation between your neutral, defense, and offense. They must be in the same. When you work on one, you need to work on the others at the same time. That may sound a little bit weird, but in my opinion, that's what it means to have fundamentals. That said, I'm going to put a very big emphasis on neutral. And the reason why we're going to put emphasis on neutral going forward, it's going to be the thing that we talk the most about going forward in WTG. And the reason why is because I want you to think of neutral like footwork in real fighting. And I think this is actually a great analogy for how everything is interconnected, if that's something that you were struggling with. For example, what is footwork? Footwork is literally what it sounds like. If you are not a martial artist, footwork is essentially how you use your feet to advance or retreat very quickly while simultaneously maintaining a strong core that allows you to generate power, as well as remain flexible enough that you can move your head, bop, weave, duck, or block if you need to. Footwork is going to be pivotal because it's literally what you set up every attack, no matter what style you do. If you're doing traditional martial arts like Kung Fu or Wing Chun, or if you're doing MMA, or if you're doing any kind of striking when it comes to like boxing or kickboxing, even Kenjutsu and Hima and fencing all have footwork. And it is very important to have good footwork. If you do not have good footwork, this introduces enormous problems in your play. So, when we train in martial arts, we work on things in a very holistic manner. If the Jimmer style is good, when you train your footwork with the intention of being able to defend and manage distance better in order to avoid opponent, but also attack with force, you essentially become a more complete fighter, and your opponent needs to start managing your footwork and paying attention to how you're able to do things. Your footwork is one of the biggest things that a boxer is going to analyze, because everything springs forth from that footwork. If you have bad footwork, you may not be able to defend properly against your opponent. You may not be able to be in a position where you can slip an opponent's fist, or you may not be in a position where you can retreat while maintaining your balance. Conversely, if you want to attack, you might not be able to move in such a way where you're able to generate force from your hips, where your punch or your power shots are going to be loaded with power that's going to actually stop your opponent. Footwork is incredibly important for that reason. If your footwork is bad, you're going to struggle. Poor footwork, essentially, leads to poor defense and poor offense. If you have good footwork and you use that as your foundation, your fundamental, then suddenly your clean timing, your clean angles, your ability to work an angle, your ability to slip a line, get rid of your opponent's lines, or be able to dodge and avoid your opponent's incoming attacks while being able to load and counterattack, all suddenly become possible with good footwork. In my opinion, DB of Z functions exactly the same. The Venn diagram is a circle. Each one of these principles, neutral, defense, and offense, cannot be thought of as separate. When we draw focus into a specific element of these categories, such as pressure or movement, we are still considering them within the broader context of the other two issues. So for example, if I'm talking about team building, I'm not just saying, oh, that's a good team because it has a broken game plan. That team needs to be able to operate very well defensively. That team needs to be able to hit very hard. That team has certain requirements that need to fit you as a player, so that way you are not hindered in any way. If I talk about movement, that movement is not going to be good just because you can air-to-air an opponent really nicely or cleanly, or because you can dodge an incoming attack. Your movement's got to be able to draw assists. Your movement's got to be able to close distance and attack very swiftly, so that way when you actually attack your opponent, they don't know what hit them, or they are not able to time you, when you attack them. You want to consider these things. Like we're talking, like even in this example, I'm literally talking about movement with the intention to attack or defend. This is what I mean when I say they must be thought of holistically. I can't give you good movement and teach you how to move well or teach you the stuff that we need to do separate from everything else. You need to understand the reasons behind every single individual action going forward in order to properly account for your game plan and how to properly account for your opponent so that way you can end the fight as quickly and as efficiently as possible. So, do we have any questions so far? I'm going to give everyone a quick moment. If you guys are on YouTube, thank you so much for watching our VODs despite my inconsistent schedule. I appreciate your patience. If you guys want, I'm a lot more active, like I mentioned, on the VCs of the WTG Discord. So if you want to meet me there, you definitely can. And yeah. Do you guys have any questions or anything before we continue? The Venn diagram goes hard. Thank you, Toad. I appreciate it. All right, guys. So we're actually going to do something a little bit different for this class. You may have noticed that I checked into an online lobby. The reason why is because this will be the first time where I essentially work with a student in order to demonstrate to you guys some principles. So I'm going to load into a VC right now with one of my favorite, most consistent students, Lee, and also Junie. All right. What's up, fellas?
Hello.
All right.
Hello.
All right, guys. Get in here. We're gonna demonstrate some principles for the group. Now, just to make sure that I'm doing this as fairly as possible, wait, also Junior, nah, they know I love them. But here's the thing. I'm actually gonna do something rather interesting for my group. Guys, what teams do you want me to play? Or better yet, how about chat? Pick a character. First stream, been binging your YouTube streams. Hope one day to be one of your students one day. Today could be the day. Why not? If somebody would like to give them a sub, I'll go ahead and toss them a link. I might do it anyway, just because I like new students. Also, that name kind of goes hard. I'm not gonna lie. I'm not sure what to think of it, to be honest. Oh dear.
1 second.
Oh dear. But in the meantime, chat. Pick my point. Who do you want to see me play in order to demonstrate fundamentals? I will note that I do have veto power, so if I don't want to play them, I won't. But I promise I'll be fair and allow me. I will promise I will pick characters even if I don't like them, unless I really don't like them, and then just have a diverse. Like, don't make me play Nappa. But yeah. So, anyone know what you guys want me to play on point? Hey, Steckens, any, what's good? Yeah, Hill or H1 is fine. All right, thanks, Hill. Well, if anybody gives Hill a sub, I'll go ahead and toss him into WTG. Boom, you can officially be my student. But yeah, all right, fuck it. Lee, pick a character. What character do you want to see me cook with on point? Also, Junie, you good? Did you die? Junie die?
Did he die? I don't know.
Oh, was I muted?
You were
Yeah,
muted this
you were.
whole time, bro.
My bad.
You see, this is why Lee was my favorite, unequivocally.
My
Oh, I
bad.
clicked the wrong thing.
Super Saiyan Vegeta, Goku Black were the first two I saw in chat.
2% Goku Black. Oh no. Okay. Not Goku.
I second
not-
Goku Black.
Oh.
Fender Season 1 team?
Oh.
Hell?
Oh.
Oh my
Oh. Oh.
Kellen, yeah.
I saw a cell in the chat. Yeah.
No, Super Saiyan Vegeta. Hey, you asked for that. You asked for this.
I
literally asked for it, like,
instantly fucking regret it, to be honest.
Was Goku Black a meme?
That's not even that bad of a team, bro. You legit got. the
Yeah, this
cell.
team actually is pretty good. Now get in here. I'm in
Yeah.
US. Wait, hang on. I'm
Yeah.
on the bottom lobby.
Oh
I might be in the full
Yeah.
lobby. Hang on.
no, you're in one. Hold on. Are you moving? Or
Oh.
should
No,
I
no,
move?
I'm moving because there's barely any slots open.
Okay.
There's a lot of really funny context behind it. What is Goku Black a meme? We were talking about Goku Black all day today in the voice chat, and that is all I'll say. Wait, I completely forgot I modded Kellen. Kellen has a gun. In stream, not.
I was like,
Alright. Alright, fellas. Alright, fellers. Get in here.
Who first?
You know what, Junie? I'm gonna pick you.
Damn.
So we're going to be talking about fundamentals and what neutral looks like. So in order to demonstrate neutral and stuff like that and fundamentals, I'm actually going to show you guys some very, very common strategies that we often see. And I'm going to show you what they do for them. I'm actually glad that you guys made me play Goku Black because I don't have options or I'm very limited on what I can do. But I'm going to try, with the purposes of this demonstration, not only to you guys that I'm playing with, Junie and Lee, but also to the chat, I'm going to demonstrate to you why everything is interconnected and why you need to be very, very, very thoughtful on every approach that you make when you're playing. Will it be a great fight, announcer guy?
So we just like fighting, or what?
No. So I'll go over it.
Okay.
We're gonna chill for a second. But
Got you.
for now, you're just gonna basically be a training dummy that can move.
Okay.
Provided rollback allows it.
Yeah.
Provided that rollback allows it. Okay, cool. Okay. All right. So we start playing around and whatnot. We start moving, but the movement needs to have a purpose. So I'm going to demonstrate to you guys what happens if we don't think about the kinds of touches that we get. So my two assists kind of cover the same angle, but one of them is real block stun, the other one is not real block stun. That's the first thing that Junie needs to keep in mind if this were a real match. So let's say we're playing and whatnot. You can go ahead and move around, Junie. Let's say we're playing and I really want to hit him. I can easily just do this. So that's pretty cool. I have an assist. Now I can easily just, if I want to, I can do the EX float and stuff like that. But here's the problem. I just spent an assist. Now, what if Junie moves in such a way, Junie, I want you to avoid my assist at all costs. Okay?
Okay.
Now, what happens if Junie moves in a way, and by the way,
I tried.
you... Junie, come on, man.
tried
It's Goku Black, man.
It's top 3, bro.
It's Goku Black. All right, we're gonna try that. We're gonna try that again. You ready?
Yeah.
All right.
Oh, I take those.
So right here, I can kind of pressure him, right? But here's the thing. You may have noticed that I had to wait for SSJ Vegeta to come back. So it might be easier if I demonstrate. I want you to try to hit me with your assists.
Okay.
Go ahead. I'm sorry, I completely zoned out. My bad. Let's wait for it to come back. Give me a second.
Okay, okay.
All right, let's go. So notice right here how we both spent our assists. That may seem like a normal neutral interaction with you guys, but notice how I won neutral, but SSJ Vegeta took time to come back. Now, because SSJ Vegeta took time to come back, I had to essentially stagger. So in this particular situation, if it was reversed, go ahead and call SSJ Goku, and then Super Dash plus assist with Gohan.
Okay. Oh, I'm bad.
Yeah, he did it a little too early. wait for me to reflect and jump.
Okay, okay.
So right here, if he started pressuring me, he would not have gotten his assists back. Let's analyze the threats here. I want you to go ahead and pressure me with Bardock. Spend both assists and then pressure me. So just call them both at the same time. So this is pretty good pressure. But right here, what do I really have to look out for? I have to look out for universal mechanics here. So for example, I have to look out for 6M. Go ahead and 6M me. I have to go ahead and look out for DR. And I have to go ahead and look out for his laugh is so cool. And then I have to look out for DR crushes. So go ahead and 2-3-6S me. You weave them in during pressure, and it will look something, especially if you know how to pressure well, it should look something like this. Go ahead and do whatever you want. I will probably get hit, but I will try my best to honestly react to everything.
Okay.
Actually, before you do anything, call your assist first. That way,
Okay.
yeah, okay. So I'm in the corner. This is a pretty good situation for Bardock. But here's the thing. Oh, he has good pressure, so he caught my reflect. But let's try that again. Do the same thing, but just stagger.
Okay.
Call your assist.
Oh, my bad. I tried.
Now I can kind of... I have some counterplay here. Because I know 2 of the 3 things that he can do. The gut punch, the 6M, and kind of if he wants to cross up, if I can call out in time if we're mid-screen. But Bardock has to set it up very specifically. Reflect will beat a lot of what he wants to do. He can also IAD me. That's another option that he has. Like, he can add IAD, but his IAD is weird because he's Bardock. Go ahead and IAD me. Oh, I don't even know why that hit me. Yeah?
It's such a weird timing, yeah.
Go ahead. So, right here, I have to basically watch out for all of these things. Reflect beats them, so go ahead and 6M me. Okay, come up. Go ahead and gut punch.
Oh, my bad.
That one's harder because he has variable timing, but I can also fuzzy jump there. And then, of course, the IAD, I can reflect the IAD. If not outright 2H it. Reflect is definitely the safer option here. If I make my thing fuzzy jump, so if we go back to the position, they really need to add an online training mode, by the way.
I agree.
For example, this time, call your assists and just basically just pressure, but mix a little more.
Okay.
Ooh. Oh. Go ahead. DR?
Oh, my bad.
Yeah. I tried to jump it. Bro, you are so out of sync with me. You are so out of sync with me. One more time.
Okay, okay.
Bro, just DR. Just 5L DR.
DR? Oh, my
just
bad.
5L DR. Christ. If you fuzzy jump and whatnot, you're going to be able to jump most of it, especially if you have a character with less block stun. So, for example, if I try to do the same with Junie, I want you to try to fuzzy jump.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh. Wow.
See? Fuzzy jumping takes care of a lot of these options. Now, here's the thing. I'm not telling you that this is what you should do necessarily. We'll cover that in depth when we talk about defense specifically. But the point being is that even though we have really good stagger pressure, it's still not necessarily ideal. Go ahead and walk out of the corner. And call both of your assists. This is not a great position for Bardock to be in, because you have to encourage your opponent to mash. Now, one of the fundamentals that we talk about, or one of the things that I teach, is stagger pressure here. We pressure in a very specific way. As you saw, Genie was actually opening me up despite trying to disrespect him. We tried to make our pressure as resistant as possible to these in order to allow us to be able to play more, let's say, complex and deep mind games with our opponent. But that's still not as strong as it would be if we had both assists, because if we had both assists, there are a lot of things Junie would be capable of doing. So, for example, if I call Cell, go ahead and get out. Like, you know, a lot of people are going to be familiar with, the EX perfect attack. But I can even do stuff like, you know, I don't know the pushbacks to these assists, so it will take me a little bit of time. But you guys get the Cells Jane. I'm actually kind of swack, not gonna lie. But I can also just make that go same side.
Oh.
You know? So I can easily... My bad, messed up, but you get the idea. The point here is that I can use my assists in very creative ways. I don't know these characters. But, except Black and Vegeta. But I don't play them together. So I can choose. Now, if I have my assists, I can choose whether or not I can stagger pressure, or I can even get creative. So I can do that if I want to beta reflect. And the reason why I would do that instead of doing the EX perfect attack is because it's cheap. It does not cost me, it does not put me in meter penalty, it does not cost me anything. But more importantly, Junie, if you see a mix-up like that, what are you going to do when you see Goku Black called? What do you...
Stand.
Well,
Reflect, yeah.
You're going to want to reflect.
Well, I mean, yeah.
You should reflect assists. I want you to reflect every time you see Goku Black is called.
Okay.
Because if I jail in with a, perfect attack, you may not be able to reflect, but if I do this, you reflect the mix. Yeah. Right? Now what happens if I do this? You can use the mix-up to leverage stronger openings. So already, the mind game between us is beginning to shift. If I call both of my assists, I lose access, and now I have to basically go more conventional routes. If I have to control reflect in different ways, but unfortunately those ways require me to take more risk, and the mind game is not as deep as a result. You don't want to necessarily win neutral and always spend your assists. However, let's say, go ahead and bring in Bardock.
Oh, my bad.
So let's go ahead and play, never mind. Next round, we'll go ahead and play a little bit more. You might want to damage me so you don't lose your square. All right, you're good. So right here, if we spend an assist just to win neutral, our pressure becomes vulnerable. Therefore, we want to get so strong in neutral that we try to keep an assist at all times or have our assists come back. But this is an example of how our neutral is going to inform our pressure. That's me from the perspective of an attacker. So if I'm fighting Junie, so let's say Junie come at me with just try to attack me. Okay. So if I'm fighting Junie, right? If I'm fighting Junie and I'm running away from him, my job right here, I don't mind losing neutral anymore. Now, of course, could I have played this position a little differently and avoided Junie a lot harder? Yeah, of course. But the point is that even if I lose neutral here in that position, his assists were gone. If not, SSJ Goku was probably going to come back, but I'm not worried about SSJ Goku. Because I'd rather block a Bardock with an SSJ Goku than a Bardock with an SSJ Goku and an adult Gohan. So if I can only get one assist, that's fine. If I get both assists, that's ideal. But if I lose neutral and he has both of his assists, this is my worst case scenario. Because even with Goku Black can become incredibly hard to dodge it. Because now I have multiple opportunities for mix-ups. I can use both of them for mix-ups. And what's worse is, let's say that Junie gets hit, so I'm gonna DR you. Just get hit.
Okay.
Now, if I have an assist up, I can easily look at the damage and look at the meter. I have accelerated my positioning even without spending that assist. If I get that hit with an assist available, or I have an assist coming back, I can tag into that assist. And if it's a support character like SSJ Vegeta, or if it's a character like, let's say I'm playing Junie's team, let's say it's Adult Gohan, go ahead and bring in Adult Gohan. That's a fast track to multiple levels and a 2-touch. Because now, let's say the situation was reversed. I'm the one that got the art. So go ahead and DR me.
Okay. Just BNB.
Yeah. So right here, in this position, Junie with 2 assists, or even just 1 assist, can kill me off of a JL start. All he has to do is just the right route. This is not ideal. But now you're seeing how assists can be very useful in pressure and even on hits. There's a lot of application here, and this comes from also knowing your team. So for example, I know SSJ Vegeta. I know that this, for example, block. Okay, get hit. It's fine.
Okay.
This builds a lot of meter. I know that builds a lot of meter. So I can abuse that and use it to accelerate my development. And then if I bring in Cell and he has bar, now Cell has meter to spend on. I can just do that all day. The more meter Cell has, the more dangerous he becomes, as with most characters. With Junie, in Junie's case, if he has a lot of meter, he can explode his DHC damage beyond its already pretty high damage with SSJ Goku by being able to dump multiple levels, which is going to be beneficial for him later down the match. So this is an example of how the way you move is also going to be impacted by your team building, because these are strategies that become available once you understand your team. In this particular case with Junie, if he spends both of his assists, even as Adult Gohan, like go ahead and spend both of your assists and pressure me with Adult Gohan. This is very powerful. Gohan has some stuff that he can do here. Like go ahead and backfist me.
Oh.
But he's still taking a risk. However, have you labbed any mix-ups with your team yet?
Not many good ones, no.
I wish I could take over. I wish I could take over your Gohan. Instead, I'm fucking playing Cell. I made a mistake. Anyway. So, oh god, this character. Anyway. Anyway, the point is that we have more mix-ups available, so I can also forcefully close out a character. So what does this mean? I don't want this to happen. So, because I don't want this to happen, I'm going to play neutral in a way that if I have to lose neutral, go ahead and play neutral with me. If I have to lose neutral, I'd rather do it in a way that spends his assists. So now my assists are spent. Boom, cool. I got Cell back just in time. But notice how I had to immediately stagger pressure. Or worse, I couldn't let him interact because I needed that assist to come back, and I didn't want him to reflect me. Because that's another thing. If he sees that assist coming back on block, he can leverage that. He can make me spend the assist or weaken my pressure by reflecting me preemptively. Now, I can take advantage of that as somebody that's offensive, but that's what I mean when I say it deepens the mind game. I don't expect you to get too worried about that. Instead, I want you to pay very, very close attention to what's happening. Your offense is being dictated by your decisions in neutral. Therefore, you need to be very careful with how you spend neutral, and this is where things become very, 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 very clear. So I'm going to bring out SSJ Vegeta for this one. Notice how Junie and I are using universal movement. Those of you watching are probably like, why doesn't Junie just lariat? That is actually a legitimate question. Being rollback. Oh.
They don't want us to play.
Okay, this was a mistake. I'm not playing Goku Black anymore. I'm just going to play Junie's team. I'm upset.
It is Fundy's the team, to be fair.
No, I'm about to play Fundy's the team. Because I'm gonna make an adjustment to your team. Do I showcase? Chat, I just caught an idea. If you guys donate $10 right now, I will end the stream by talking to you about why Yamcha actually might be broken. And I will demonstrate it on Lee. I'm so sorry, Lee.
9 graveyard shift.
You just got off work. You just got off work.
And then
To hold the Yamcha.
Like,
If you
hey,
guys,
Pocket and graveyard shift.
if you guys want to see me torture Lee, you can donate $10 and I'll demonstrate why Yamcha's actually broken.
Oh nah, son. No.
Nah, we need to pay Lee for that, not you. We're not. Damn, that's crazy.
I gotta agree.
Okay.
Pay me.
So you might be wondering, why don't we Lariat plus assist? Lariat plus assist is great, but let's say we're playing neutral, so let's go ahead and play neutral. Avoid my assists.
Okay. Oh. I thought I
What,
was
what did I?
my bad.
What did I just say?
I thought I was you.
So now I spent my assists. Junie knows that he has to do something before that assist comes back, but I weaken my own pressure. I'm trying to keep him blocking long enough for SSJ Vegeta to come back. So that way I can have at least some kind of interaction here. Junie can leverage that. So, Junie, if I spend both of my assists, go ahead and disrespect me however you want.
Okay.
So he sees SSJ Vegeta coming back, or like, alright, I'm going to look for the gaps, because if I do this, SSJ Vegeta might not come back in time. I might have to do stuff like... So I might have to adjust my string like that and find artificial ways to extend it, or I might have to rely on something cheap. I might have to... But look at that, I didn't even tell Junie what I was going to do, and he reacted. The thing is that Junie has really good reactions. That's part of it. But remember that Junie is also operating under what we just presupposed. In other words, Junie right there was under the assumption that I was not going to use my assists. It would have been a very different story if I did that.
Oh.
Or if I did... Oh, damn, I hate Bardock, bro. There we go. If I did something like that. Assists make your offense more powerful. So, if we play neutral again, and I'm constantly relying on pins...
Oh, hello, Inzem.
Bardock is so good at buying time for assists to come back. He is. The point being that I'm trying to make here is that essentially what's happening is that as he buys time for his assists to come back, that is more time where you have to allow an interaction for your opponent. And your opponent can leverage that. Your opponent's also going to be ready to deal with anything that I have to throw at them, especially if it's a character with, let's say, honest, quote-unquote, pressure. That's one of the advantages of characters that have good stagger pressure like Bardock, but it's also something that you have to think of. So, to go back to the thesis here, while I do, and you should use pins, by the way, pin is something like that, where you can rush in and then jail them down with an assist. There is a place for pins, but pins are not a substitute for good movement. Good movement, good positioning, good might, and understanding of controlling your opponent's distances and managing their assists, managing their longest range tools, and stuff like that. What ends up happening is that you have higher chances of not only spending your assists, but spending your assists meaningfully. In other words, if you have to spend an assist, you want to mitigate. Which brings me back all the way to my original point. When it comes to fundamentals, the way that we operate in WTG, the way I teach my students in order to function, is not by finding something specifically broken or strong and then abusing it. It's basically through the art of mitigation. What's your best case scenario? What's your worst case scenario? How can I strengthen my best case scenario? How can I reinforce my worst case scenario? And you're kind of seeing that a little bit in play. Because if, for example, Junie, let's go ahead and play neutral. Go ahead. I don't want you to try to catch me. Use your assists. Damn. That was my bad. Go ahead.
Okay.
We'll wait for SJ Goku to come back.
No, my bad.
Junie, please. I'm relying on you, man. All right.
Okay.
Good.
Oh. Ow.
Sorry, my instincts took over. But yeah, I'm trying to avoid Junie, and I'm trying to avoid losing neutral as much as possible. And if I have to do this, let's just go ahead and presuppose we played neutral. Go ahead and call both of your assists.
Okay.
So if I do this, right, this is still not a great position. As Inzam mentioned, Bardock is really good at buying time for his assists, and that's because Bardock has incredible stagger pressure. However, even though he has incredible stagger pressure, this is not the strongest case scenario for Junie. This is, if he has to win, this is his worst case scenario to do it. He has to work so much harder than he would normally have to if he just had an assist. He doesn't even have the ability to 6M. He's losing a very, very important fundamental pressure mechanic. He could 6M and I can block and he can rely on the mind game. But the problem is that if I just block or if I reflect the 6M, his pressure's over. It is not a comfortable position. So now, even without the 6M, he would have to rely on the ID or he would have to rely on the DR or hope that I would do something. He could get cute and he could try to do something depending on how patient or respectful I am, but this is not comfortable for him. That's my goal. You want to use your fundamentals and sharpening your fundamentals to weaken your opponent and put them in their worst case scenario. Or if you're getting put in your worst case scenario, you're not winning, how can you make it so that way it's not that bad? And you can actually deal with your opponent in a meaningful way that doesn't actively put you in danger or mitigates the danger altogether. This becomes even more important when instead of factoring in the characters, we begin factoring in the player. I.e., if I factor in that, let's say, my opponent doesn't have very good stagger pressure. Let's say I'm fighting an opponent that is rather new to the game, or they don't pressure like the way we teach here, and they pressure in a way that maybe is not necessarily as strong. Then if I spend their assists, even if they're playing a character like Cell, or they're playing a character like Adult Gohan, even with extra levels and stuff like that, I'm not really too worried. I'm not really too worried. Because I moved in such a way that if I had to surrender, I surrendered on my terms. So why go through all of this? Because the Venn diagram is a circle. See, my defense didn't start when I started blocking Junie. My defense started when I exhausted his assists, and I moved in such a way that I exhausted his assists. That was my defense. So that way, when I actually have to block and eventually surrender, all I have to do is just hold it. Look out for DR. If I have good reactions, there's not a lot of threat here. Now, what's the inverse of this? The inverse is you want to sharpen your fundamentals so much that when you use your assists, you are able to purchase something for it. Not necessarily hit them. I don't want you to walk away from this and be like, got it, I should never spend my assists in neutral. That is not the case. We're going to be talking more in depth about strategy going forward, how to use your assist, movement, positioning, all that good stuff when it comes to strategy. That's all coming. But now you guys have a pretty good idea how neutral and quote-unquote good footwork is going to assist you in better defense, better offense, better pressure, better combos, how to utilize and rotate and move your team in a way that makes a lot of sense. Does anyone have any questions? And my fellow friends here, Lee and Jeannie, thank you so much for helping. What do you guys think? Because I know we've talked about this a lot in our VCs, but how did it feel to actually kind of see it demonstrated?
The Venn diagram helped a lot. I like that.
Yeah, also agree on that.
The Venn diagram,
Like,
yeah.
Like if we're like ever like stuck at some point, we could just go back to the Venn diagram and like
Exactly.
refresh our minds.
I'll
So that's
I'll have Wise upload the Venn diagram and you can pin it.
yeah.
But that being said, thank you guys so much for joining me. I hope you all have a wonderful rest of your evening. If you're watching this on YouTube, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. If you want more content like this, hit the bell notification for whenever I upload every month, I guess. And if you are interested, you can always catch us live at I'm sorry, what is it? What's my own tag? I don't even know. Twitch.tv Weiss Training Grounds, which I should change pretty soon. You can definitely find us there, catch us live. You can also follow me on Twitter for live updates for when I go live. And yeah, we look forward to seeing you, and I hope you have a wonderful rest of your evening. Bye, guys. Say bye.
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 Wow, are you kidding? Oh my gosh! Hey.
All right.
I'm
Bye
blinking
now.
twice, chat.
Also,
Come
just
with
for you, if you're already in the server, you can join us in the voice chat for an after stream party. Peace, y'all.